Quest taking. Quest taking games. I'm not really sure that quest taking is a genre, a named one in and of itself. I'll have to do a little bit of research, but it is something that definitely comes to mind as the chief mechanic for a board game in which you, as the player of a heroic character, or maybe a not so heroic character, are looking to position yourself to obtain the best quests and manipulate the objectives that you have in order to win. And those objectives can either be public or private. If we start splitting hairs, we can really apply these mechanics or the components that make up these mechanics to a lot of different games, and I don't want to do that. Instead, I want to give you a couple of examples of the quest-taking games to which I refer. One is Runebound, which I don't have.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
And the other, arguably the first quest-taking game that I've played, and so far the best by default, is Judgment of the Realm Lords, which is a really fantastic, ambitious, and just well-executed endeavor for this type of game. It's not a dungeon crawler. It's something in which you are planning moves, both in the short term and in the long term, in order to accomplish an objective, or maybe one of several objectives. But it is to that end that I wish to introduce to you Lutz Stepanat's Return of the Heroes, a game created by Fantastic Adventures and distributed by Pegasus Spiel, Pegasus Press, really an imprint, in 2003. If this box looks familiar, but you know that this is just not the game that you're thinking of, that's because this game had a follow-up in 2004 called Under the Shadow of the Dragon. There was actually a third game in the series, but it was German only, as far as I could tell in my research, called Helden in der Unterwelt, or Heroes in the Underworld. And it brought a lot of new mechanics and characters and scenes to this game series. All three of these can be played standalone or as part of a greater campaign, used as expansions, essentially, to each other. A couple of things drew me to this game. One, obviously, it's a fantasy board game, and it looks like there's a lot of fantasy, sword and sorcery, mythic, magic stuff going on. There's character building and a little bit of development to give it that roleplay aspect. It seems to be of that quest-taking variety, which we will be getting into reading the box and checking out the game content here pretty quickly. But I've also only ever heard good things about it. I just haven't found any sort of review that really trashed it. You'd expect to find that with pretty much every game ever, but everybody just seems to genuinely have a good time playing Return of the Heroes and Under the Shadow of the Dragon. This also is soloable. 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up. A session could last around 90 minutes. The other thing that drew me to this was that it was actually quite affordable to get this and its successor together in a lot off of eBay. It really wasn't anything offensive in terms of price. I'm hoping this video doesn't necessarily drive the prices up beyond accessibility, but these few games are, as of the time of this recording, all fairly priced. Return of the Heroes sports this sort of look with its cover, and so do the other games in this series. It looks like an arrangement of Photoshop elements just placed on a single painted scene. It's really something different. It's almost got kind of a vibe of a background that you would see while you're listening to a collection of lo-fi music. Look at these little guys. The more I look at this, the more stuff I find, but it's evident that it's all just kind of like pieces put together, click and drag and drop in different places, and maybe put a little bit of shadow in after the fact. This all very well maybe could have been just one illustration, but it doesn't look that way to me. I also will say in 2003, it's obvious that that's absolutely not slop. This is way before the time of generative AI nonsense. We have an introductory game set up, and it gives you the step-by-step here in 12 steps. We have a number of tiles that will be placed differently when you play the game in earnest, and so no two games will be the same. We've got magic artifacts being placed on their coordinates, counters representing the first part of each heroic deed in play. These counters, as well as the cleric, are not used in the introductory game. They're going to give you the elf and the mage. On the reverse of this, we have set up for a solitaire game. So as soon as I have the time to really look into this, I can sit down and play. And man, we definitely have some 3D models here, which is really wild. You're going to see this mixture of this art style all throughout the unboxing of this. I got to take a step back real quick though and give you the narrative. Return of the Heroes is more than a game. It is your tale. I thought that said fate. You play a talented but inexperienced character. This will change during your adventures. You experience the progression of your hero. This game is your portal to the fantastic world of elves, dwarves, mages, fighters, and clerics. Experience exciting adventures in the capital and the surroundings. Barter on the markets of Zenda. Fight against giants, trolls, or other dark enemies. Eventually, you have to overcome the cruel Nameless in his tower, and you will return a hero. Return of the Heroes is your key to many great adventures. Distribute 32 tasks, events, and creatures unseen on 16 different region maps that can be combined in many different ways. You begin to explore a world unknown to you. You will find information, gold, and magic artifacts. However, always be on your guard. The servants of the Nameless can be anywhere. The players can fulfill one of 8 heroic deeds and finally challenge and defeat one of 6 Nameless. The development of their character, the increase of his skills, and the gaining of experience is shown in an easily understandable way on the character sheet. The challenges of the game are decided by strategy and a bit of luck with the dice. Return of the Heroes is a game for the whole family and offers endless game combinations. And yeah, we get a confirmation that a solitary game is included. Just a bunch of really good selling points. Hopefully you can kind of see why I have likened Judgment of the Realm Lords to this sort of gameplay setup and style. This particular copy that I got off eBay has these turn sequences and rule summaries printed off and laminated, which I always really appreciate when the previous owner of a game does that. They don't change anything in the box, they add to it. There's even a print off of the Nova rules for Return of the Heroes. This is actually an update. The original rules were very vague and inconsistent, so nearly every rule has morphed into an unofficial variant of some kind or another. This works out fine. If you have some confusion about a rule, have your group decide on an answer, then keep playing. The goal is to have fun after all. This is kind of an additive to make things more concrete, more official, should you choose to play with the Nova rules. I love this addition. Everything is kept intact, but this, which obviously did not come with the game as it was retailed, but it is put in after as a second-hand edition. That's awesome. Thank you to the person who put the work into doing that for the, well, not necessarily for me, not for the buyer of the game on eBay. I'm sure they did this for themselves, but they included the rules, which I thought was really, really cool. We have our manual here, which is laid out with all of the graphics. It's really not a huge read. We have things laid out in a narrative way. We have this sort of back and forth dialogue going on. How do I get lost hit points back? You can restore hit points at various locations. Go to your manor house and sit out one turn. Then all your starting hit points are restored. In the temple and White Village, you acquire 1 hit point per turn sat out. But that's not very much. At the market, you can buy a healing potion. Sounds tasty. And otherwise, at the Fountain of Life, it reminds me a lot of the Dragon Strike video. And then here you go again. You've got illustration, and then you've got 3D model. Just a jarring clash that eventually becomes so commonplace. Ghost of a naked old man. I mean, fantastic. Well, who could ask for more? This is obviously Liv Tyler, or someone's fantasy version of Liv Tyler. What, the original wasn't good enough for you? Characters that would make a RuneScape 3D modder blush. I don't even know what to think about that. We have a real Dino Crisis here. Crisis. Not the bees, not the bees. We have alternative rules for the standard game and something called the Unknown Land and another set of alternative rules. We have additional variations here at us.pegasus.de. Overall, I think that this is going to be a very easy to read book. And while it may have vagaries, it is at least going to be an entertaining read, something that should be easily absorbed because of the narrative theme they chose to go with. We have condensed rules here, which is just awesome. I mean, this is when a game takes itself seriously. It goes hard. It says, I want to consider all types of audiences. We have preparing for play, turn of play, movement, random encounter chits, actions, combat, hit points, altering values, experience cubes, tasks, the nameless. And then we have a glossary, just a complete glossary of all of the icons and chits and character boards used and terms on here. This all could have been in one manual, but I still would have been just as impressed flipping through that manual, seeing the different sections. All right, so I have to give a shout out to the designer of this, the physical designer, the person who decided on how things should be arranged in the box, because I love when things are arranged this neatly in the box. This sparks joy. This incites excitement because you can see all of the components basically that are going to be used. We have a lot of them. We have a lot of different things. We have our drawstring linen bag, which has something in it. Tokens of a type. Chits, treasure bits, probably set up for our tutorial game. I may have been the one to do that too. I don't remember. A ton of wooden pieces that are going to represent our experience cubes. We have some discs here. I can only imagine these are gold coins. And then we have some, I would say, houses or churches of some kind. Just very, very simple meeple structures. We have our precious stones, which are actual, like, polished, tumbled rocks. Super interesting, these choices are. Very, very interesting to me. Not just that, but the fact that we have these like fish tank pebbles. Now, the way that these are packaged, I don't know if this container is original or if this was added afterwards. Maybe these stones were stored maybe in a bag down here. There's something about this that just has such a homemade charm to it, though. And this fits so perfectly. Why not have that there? These are wooden dice, D6s, obviously, black with gold pips. They're very classy looking, and they look like they would fit fantastically in a classic HeroQuest game. You use the black dice whenever you are dashing or sneaking. That's my homebrew tip for HeroQuest. It's just homebrew. It's got nothing to do with this game or this unboxing. I can't keep it out of my brain. We have several of these chits with these 3D rendered skulls wearing helmets on them, guards and servants on board at starts. These things are set up on the board when you begin the game. Don't use for TGMH. I'm sure I would know what that meant if I took a little bit more time to read the rules. Our 3D renders of different items used as art for all of the chits. We have stand-ees, not miniatures. It would be very easy to use miniatures to proxy these, but you know, with the art style presented on the box and all throughout the manual and everything, I actually feel like stand-ees is the right way to go for this game. I think that using the artwork that we have already seen of these characters to represent the characters in all its gaudiness, honestly, and I mean that in a good way. There is a charm to this strange sort of, I don't know why it calls QVC to mind. I have no idea. Maybe because these just look like characters on the covers of Harlequin romances. No disrespect to the artist in any way intended. And I would associate the audience of Harlequin romances to be the same audiences who would get onto QVC and watch it. Although I did watch a fair bit of QVC myself. Haven't read any Harlequins. Not yet. Wizard character. We have our cleric. Obviously, he's got a cross in one hand and a mace in the other. When faith gets painful. Then we have our dwarf with the pickaxe. It's very fan servicey to like the 90s audience in just the strangest way, and yet the game was published in 2003, and this might be more representative of trends in Germany at the time. We have, underneath our hero boards, wells for our chits. Again, super happy with this design. This is super cool. You have so much room in here to store stuff. You just have all the room you could possibly need. Our hero boards here include Antrax Spell Singer, a mage who finds red hidden paths on 7 or less. You can see that they have their varying amounts of health, and we have lines in between, as well as different colorations of the hearts filled in. I would assume this is to tell you what their maximum health can be at or whatever, and then maybe you can use the rest of the hearts on the card if you are able to get to a level up point or progress beyond your basic maximum. We can also see that we've got these tracks along our magic, ranged, and melee stats. We've got initial numbers here as well as dice, and the dice highlight here in the column. I would assume this means when you level up that stat or put skill points into that stat or whatever, however you progress it, you're reaching across to get to the next dice tier. So you're going to go from 2 dice rolled to 5 dice rolled if you can sync all of your stuff into the melee stat here. I'm using terms a bit loosely, a bit generically. We start with 3 gold pieces. We can move 3 somethings. I don't know what yet. And we have purple rock. They all do. They all have purple rock. The other side of the hero board features that hero in the opposite gender. So we have our male and then we have our female, because that's how that would work, Ash. Good job. Good job on that. Aegon Stormblade, and then Leandra Stormblade. Oh, so this is Sybil Spellsinger. So you could kind of say that they're related to each other. I guess that's something you could do. Then we have Grow Frosthammer, although he's never going to grow any taller than that. And Myra Frosthammer. We have Glingal, the elf, always finds hidden paths in the woods. And then we have Eleanor. She has the same skill set. We have Cornus Soul Soother, a cleric who always finds temple and white village. And his sister, Frida, Soul Soother. I think I'm going to say that this is my favorite character out of this whole thing. Her and Sybil here, who gives strong Mother Gothel vibes. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Or do. Aegon's all right. I just kind of detest everyone else. We have blue and yellow outlines on our hero boards. We've already seen that we have a lot of equipment chits that are blue and yellow bordered. So these obviously would get placed into these slots to grow our heroes and make it very apparent to ourselves and the other players at the table what our heroes are capable of doing. We have 8 and we have 6 or perhaps 9 or perhaps G or B in a funny font. That's enough of that. Oh, I see contents have shuffled. We have tiles with all of the numbers on them. What are they for? At this time, I don't know or can't remember. But this is what happens when I flip the board game upside down to show you the text on the back. These are the sacrifices that I make for you. We have some Dark Tower cards. Shadow receives lost hit points of his attacker as his own. Black Knight cannot be attacked in magic combat except by the wielder of the U staff. 6-armed Goddess causes double damage in close combat except against the wielder of the cross. Demon causes double damage except to the wearer of the amulet. Warlock cannot be attacked in close combat except by the wielder of the magic sword. And the Deep One, this guy, he looks like he could be a Splatoon host. He's like, and then the subtitle is like, who's your team gonna pick? I'm gonna be Team Vanilla. Cannot be attacked with range combat unless you have the magic bow. Love them all. Those must be the nameless. Obviously they are named though, so way to fail at the only thing you were good at. We have here what seem to be legendary treasures, the Axe of the Gnomes, the Golden Ball, Juan's Relic, the Signet. Oh, these are quests. These are actually quests. There are 8 of these, and pardon me, they are actually referred to as heroic deeds. This would be the quest-taking portion, I suppose. Defeat the bees, P3, then take their honey, turn over the bees counter, and receive 1 experience point and 1 gold piece. Using the honey, you can distract the bear at C5. While he eats the honey, place honey counter here, you can take the signet ring from him, turn over the bear counter, which he stole many years ago from our ancestor. Bring this ring to our house so that the honor of our house is renewed. Receive a precious stone as a reward, and I suppose the precious stone could go there on the card to show that you've completed it. I love this sequence of steps and the mechanical and lore instructions to complete them. That is just grade S componentry. In my opinion, we have Granatos Bagpipes. Defeat the Firewalkers at J8 and relieve them of the Panpipes. Turn over Firewalkers counter. You relieve them of the Panpipes because the person who stole them is very, very bad at playing the Panpipes. So when you defeat that one guy who's really annoying to everybody else and leave, they're all like, thank you, thank you. And that's why this does not start an all-out Fae war between the Fae and the humans. Anyway, receive 1 experience point and 1 gold piece. Bring the Panpipes to Granatos. Place the Panpipes counter here so that he can play them again merrily. As a token of his thanks, he gives you a pearl. Turn over the Granatos counter. Bring it home and mount it on our coat of arms so that one and all will recognize the dignity and nobility of our house. Receive a precious stone as a reward. This goes on like that with a diadem, the free Daphne, free Merlin. All in all, very flavorful. Good cards. No, I didn't lick any of them that you know of. All right, the meat and potatoes of all this, the 16 cards that make up the world map upon which we will be playing our game of Return of the Heroes. These will create a 4x4 grid, but they can only be placed in certain ways, to my knowledge. So actually, they might be able to be placed anyway, as long as the routes line up perfectly. And it looks like it's possible that all of the routes will always line up, but we'll see. All of these have a letter associated with them. So when I was reading off like D5 and P6 earlier, that's what we were talking about. This would be tile P and then location 6. So right here, P6, this is a very specific location referred to in the heroic deeds. P3, this would be where you would fight the bees. And I just really enjoy that every single one of these tiles has got multiple locations on them, and all of the locations have very specific places. Like I can easily see already, without even knowing the rules in depth, that you could make your own homebrew tiles and your own heroic deeds and add these into your games of Return of the Heroes. But look at this. You have your person in a jail, and I can already infer that this is somebody that you may have to free. 03 has got our strange mushroom house with wildlife living in and around it. 6 is a trip to the swamp, maybe. There's this sort of, I don't know what this is. It looks like a serpent, and yet there's a very wide back here. I don't know what's going on, but it's scaring me, so we're going to move on. Okay, tile N, and now this is the part of the video where we look at all the tiles in earnest. Basically, a pyramid with a temple on top. We've got our church off to the side here. Again, we are able to leave by any of the 4 routes. We basically have Tinkerbell here flying up to say hi, introducing you to this tile. We have a number of fairies, actually. Didn't see those other 2. We have a tree, which seems to be bound by magic on M2. Yeah, this really makes me want to know the lore and the stories that are being told by these locations. And it just makes me want to grab the heroic deeds and read through all of them. I see we have some boat routes going from 4 to 2 and 9 and 8 on this tile. Just multiple ways to get from point A to point B, or perhaps leave this tile altogether and take the long road around. It seems like this is a cooperative series of games, so it's really not about racing anybody else. Loving this one, by the way. The haunted, foggy forest, and then we've got this, it looks like a pleasant gingerbread house, really. I can already tell that's going to be a Hansel and Gretel situation. We're going to fight an evil candy witch, or maybe not. We've got our castle here. The art is so bonkers. It's so crazy because the perspective is all over the place. Again, elements were just dragged and dropped like clip art. I mean, it has to be, right? Even the UI, the numbers and the way that the textures look on the markers that represent the spaces themselves, they just really look like Windows 98 or Windows 2000 defaults. But I love it. I'm not in any way admonishing the art direction for this. It is so bizarre, but it's very deliberate. It's very, very deliberate. It's just, it's frying me right now, fam, for real, on God. That's going to cause some unsubscribers. Some people have already clicked off the video in disgust. There are few more who are like just hanging on to the ledge, and just to step on the fingers of those people still hanging on. 67. I'm sorry, I really am. I like this one a lot. We have this sort of, Smurfs village in the field of flowers? I don't know, but the paths connecting 7, 8, and 2 to this, and 4 obviously are like ethereal. So what's up with that? We have our 3D tower. I think this is where one of the nameless, or perhaps the nameless, whoever it is going to be stationed. Again, not super clear on the rules regarding that because I just haven't dug in that deep. This tile looks really cool though. It's got a sense of danger about it. You want to keep your distance from this. No matter where this tile is placed, it's going to be a very real and present threat, definitely in the line of sight of all of the other tiles. Everybody's going to see this towering tower being very tower-like in the distance, and it's going to strike fear into the hearts of men, dwarves, elves, and women alike. I said what I said. Let's move on to tile G. We have this strange sort of spiral in the rocks. You know, this isn't going to affect anybody's pathing all that much. It's all point A to point B at the end of the day. The fact that to get from 3 to 6, you have to traverse this 18-mile long winding path really doesn't mean anything. It's one space, but it's still cool to see that arrangement. Yeah, we have a bit of a observatory here in this little house. Giant telescope poking. We've got some spider webs here in G8 as well. Probably have to fight some spiders. We have a friendly, festive village. I can't wait to come here and get some Oktoberfest lager while wearing my lederhosen or my dirndl, you know, whatever is required to get a good glass of authentic Oktoberfest. Drop those super chats down below if you want to see the next live stream where I wear the dirndl. And drop even bigger super chats if you don't want to see that. That's right, we're going full pay to win on that. All right, I'm done losing subscribers. We have several of these tiles left to go. We have the ruins here, replete with tower, a lot of houses in this circle of wall. I'm so good at describing things, guys. Let's go on to tile D. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, kind of running out of words to say that I haven't already said, so I'm just going to let the pictures do the talking for me. I like this a lot, though. I do like this a lot, and I can kind of see how you could swap tiles out, but that would affect the availability of the heroic deeds were you to swap them out between expansions. I'm kind of wondering if you have all of these base games together, or any two of them, could you just merge the contents and make sure to use all of it in its entirety? Like, could I have a 4x8 grid or an 8x4 grid if I used all 32 tiles and then just combined all of the heroic deeds? That would make for an extremely long game, right? That's all the tiles. That's all the chits. I guess we could look at the chits in more detail to actually take them out of the bags. It's kind of looking like, rather than equipment slots, maybe these are more to do with like the items you have to carry to your next objective when you are working your heroic deeds. That could be a combination of them, actually, and I'm willing to bet that's more what it is. Everything in this game is branded with the company name. Like, I get it. Fantastic Adventure made this, but why does the PA have to be on everything? Did they just lack anything else? Did they run out of money to license art to put on the backs of tiles? Like, they literally could have used the Return of the Heroes purple crystal ball here in the logo. I don't see that used anywhere else. But yeah, they could have used art, not the logo of the company. Find Mirabar. She instructs you in magic combat. Oh my, this is still in German. You know what? I'm okay with that. I kind of expect it, to be honest, at this point. Find the statuette, bring it to the kingdom. Amulet. Find the dragon teeth, bring them to the witch house. Staff. These are not heroic deeds. These are more like sub-quests, mini-quests. They might just be called quests, actually. Search for the frightening gravestone. And yeah, don't know what this means, but because it's using red, blue, and green, and because we have red, blue, and green to stand for our stats, this might be a bonus of +1 to any of those. Search for the hidden ravine, and yeah, I think this means this is your reward. So you would get to move your red cube +1. And we know, because even without looking at the rules, these are square shaped, and this game comes with those 3 different colors of cubes, that those probably fill in these squares for our players. They probably move along those tracks. I would say that that's fairly obvious, but I could also be very wrong about that. We've got other tiles in this as well, like the Thief with heart and 0 green, 0 red, and +3 gold pieces, I guess, when you defeat him. And Beggar, who is -1 gold. Roll a die, 1 to 2. Don't know what this means. I guess you can advance one of your combat stats. 3 to 6 equals good deed. I love how much seems to be going on. Oh, look at these wolves. Look at these wolves. I don't want to fight these guys. They are so adorable. We've got heart, 0, 0, -1 red, and then red cube. I would presume that this is the reward that you get. Man, I was able to get RuneScape Kingdoms from Steamforged Games during their initial crowdfund campaign. Not during, but after the crowdfund campaign ended. And I think that game plays a lot like this one plays. So I don't have a super great way of putting things back into the wells, because I don't actually know how things should go into the wells. I'm not going to put things into the wells at this time, but I do want to point out that this has been right in front of me this entire time, and I should have just named it out, but we have experience cubes. That is what those are. Servants of the Nameless, guards of the Nameless, and the Nameless cards, the Nameless itself. The Nameless counter, the number chits, the market counters, hit points, gold pieces, and dice. Lovely, lovely dice. Since this can be soloed, I would like for you guys to tell me if you'd like to see a playthrough of this on the channel. Playthroughs generally don't do very well, but I would absolutely be willing to give any one game a playthrough at least once on the channel. But that is the entirety of Return of the Heroes. And if you would like to see its sequel, just drop that comment down below. You guys drive all of this, You tell me what you want to see. It's impressive as is, and I don't regret getting this at all. I can't wait to finally put aside some time to dig in and try the solo mode and learn how to play, because I think that I would actually have a lot of fun playing this with Shar and with my preferred table of heroes. But that's it for now, brave heroes. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Consider watching another video, and I will see you in the next exciting adventure. Until then, onward for now.